Hey, it's Sean from the driver's perspective, and today we're going to start the Toyota 86 build. Two quick things are going on in the car today: OpenFlash Tablet Stage 1 tune and a new exhaust. So you might be asking yourself why I would swap out already good and functional exhaust for something else. And the biggest issue with a lot of aftermarket exhaust systems is they drone. And drone is that really bassy frequency that you get when you're cruising around at 2,000–3,000 RPM, and it's just really ugly sounding. So this car is no different. It suffers from drone, even with a TRD exhaust, especially around 3,000 RPM, which if you're cruising around in the city, you're there a lot. So kind of just resonates through the cabin, and I'm not a fan of that. And when we put the header on the car, it's just going to get worse. So a company that we work with a lot sent us an exhaust to test, and this features a Helmholtz chamber, which Helmholtz chamber cuts down on drones, and it's a large chamber that is a little bit more complicated than I have time to explain in this video, but essentially it's this big hollow tube here, and this is designed to a certain size, and this is what cancels out the drone. So this is a really cool piece of technology that kind of come into the exhaust world recently. So I'm very curious to see how it sounds on the car. The other part of the mid-pipe. And the muffler. So Rocky, what order would you do this in then?
You always start up front.
Always start up front and work your way back, and then we're going to leave the slip joint in the middle loose until we get the muffler position correct.
So we can adjust it.
Alright.
See, because you move it a little bit, see it changes position?
Yeah. So let's have a chat about this exhaust and the OpenFlash Tablet Stage 1 tune. It doesn't have the same booming drone around 2,500 RPM that the TRD exhaust did. Right here I'm at 3,000 RPM, and when you get on the gas it would just kind of boom and resonate in the cabin. With this, it's just a nice, smooth, clean sound. I expect at the tailpipe though it's a bit more aggressive sounding. That's the thing that you get with a Helmholtz. You lose the glass of the resonator, but you gain that Helmholtz chamber, which cancels out pretty much all the drone. This basically doesn't drone. Let's see if I can roll the windows down, and maybe you can even hear it a little bit. It's actually quieter than the TRD exhaust was in the cabin. I'm kind of surprised by that. Yeah, there's really not much difference in terms of sound. I think, if anything, it's quieter, which I think for some people they might be disappointed by that. I like my cars pretty darn quiet. For me, this is an improvement over the TRD exhaust. Not that the TRD exhaust was bad, but I could tell when we were going to add the header, it was going to get pretty loud and drony. This one, I'm very curious to add the header because it's so mild right now that it may just work out really well with the header. But I think overall, I like it. I'm going to have to put some more miles on it. It is a new exhaust, so it's actually louder now than it's going to be in 500 to 1,000 miles after it carbons up a little bit. I think there's a lot to like about the tone. It's definitely still sporty. Really think this is what Toyota should have done with the TRD exhaust. The more I'm kind of hearing it and getting on and off the throttle. Let's talk about this tune. I installed the tune before the last autocross, and I was kind of hasty about it, and I didn't really make a video, but I already made a video about how to flash your car with an OpenFlash tablet, and you can see that video here. We used my wife's Fiat 500 Abarth, so if you want to know how to do it, watch that video. The process is a little different for each car, but you'll get the gist of it. So with the 2017 cars, there's not really that big of a gain to be had with the Stage 1 tune.
There's a lot of people that have already dynoed it, and it doesn't show that big of a gain, you know, a couple foot-pounds into the torque dip area and that sort of thing. But what you don't see on the dyno graph that you notice driving the car around is the mapping for the electronic throttle is definitely different. It's a lot more linear and natural feeling with the Stage 1 tune. And for me, that's a big deal. With drive-by-wire cars, I either love them or hate them, and I think that's the case for most people, but definitely for this car, it's a big improvement. Another behavior that the OpenFlash tablet fixed with the Stage 1 tune is redline. So when you hit redline with the factory tune, it really just falls on its face and the car kind of hiccups. With this, it'll actually hold the car at redline and it won't bounce or waver off the limiter, but it'll just hold it right there. And for autocross, that's awesome. Even for big track, that's great. You're not punished like you are with a factory limiter for holding it there. So for autocross, second gear stuff, really awesome. The third and final thing I think that the Stage 1 tune really refines and fixes is I noticed that with a factory tune, it would hang kind of between shifts sometimes in a really weird way. And again, it's not natural, so it makes shifting kind of clunky and that sort of thing. So I think that's a really nice fix. Outside of that, idle's kind of improved. I mean, this definitely doesn't idle as smooth as like an inline 6 or an inline 4, so I really think there's not too much to be fixed there. And I know that the older cars had worse idle than the 17s. So, you know, are the gains huge? No, it's not a rocket ship or anything. I think if you're really looking for the bang for the buck, though, Stage 2 Plus tune with E85 and an otherwise stock car, that just can't be beat. You know, you're getting pretty much 95% of the gains without having to do really any work other than filling up your tank at the E85 pump. So I think that's really awesome. I'm going to put E85 in this once I go back to the dyno, get a baseline and that sort of thing. But otherwise, I'm just going to enjoy this exhaust. Till next time, it's Sean with a driver's perspective.